A dominant Oilers win in Game 2 in every phase. How will VGK bounce back on the quick turnaround as the series now shifts to Edmonton, tied at 1-1?
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick. We come to you daily from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen. Our podcast free and available wherever you get your podcast. You could find us on Twitter at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G, at Locked On VGK, and of course on YouTube, Locked On Golden Knights. Please subscribe there. The Oilers, they overpowered VGK in every aspect of the game on Saturday, and they tied the series up at 1-1. Edmonton had 3 more power play goals, 3 more, and that's 5 total with the man advantage, which is insane. And Connor McDavid even scored a shorthanded goal for good measure for the Edmonton Oilers in the 5-1 win. So now all the momentum, Chris, on the Edmonton side as they host VGK now for the next 2 games in this series. Most disappointing, well, everything as you go just down the list for VGK. Defense wasn't good. Goaltending, subpar. No intensity. They lacked intensity in a playoff game, and they even had an extra day to prepare. VGK had no net front presence, which Cassidy was just screaming about the other day, saying that that's what they needed, and they were very soft in the crease. And Edmonton waltzed not only through the neutral zone, but they also walked in on the net. How do you regroup after a loss like this?
Besides that, everything is great, folks. So before we get into all of that, and there's a lot to go over with this, Edmonton had a good game. Edmonton had a very good game. In Game 2, one game of the series, if you will, Edmonton was very good. They were the better team. They were everything that Tony mentioned for one game. It's one game. No different than VGK won one game. And we knew going into this is probably going to be a 7-game series, maybe 6, most likely a 7-game series. And I know everyone in Vegas is thinking it might be a little bit shorter now because of how bad things went. But let's start with history. Edmonton has been very bad recently in Game 1s and very good in Game 2s. I think they're like 6-0 or 7-0 or something crazy like that off of a loss. So that right there tells us something about whatever adjustments are being made by Woodcroft and his coaches, and the players are responding well. Whereas they're a step ahead of the opposition's coaches as they were yesterday. The first thing I noticed, even before the friggin' Draisaitl power play goal, which we all knew was coming, I literally put on Twitter, I said, great, power play, Draisaitl goal announcement coming soon. And I think 30 seconds went by and boom, there it was. But the first thing I noticed was Edmonton's exits and getting long passes across the blue line going almost to the red line, whereas VGK was limiting those. They weren't shutting them down on Wednesday night in Game 1 by any means, but they were limiting those to, not few and far between, but just it didn't, like every breakout felt like it was connecting early for the Oilers. And was that an adjustment by the Oilers, or did Cassidy maybe tell the guys, hey, let's take it up a notch with this game. Let's forecheck even harder. So that's the first adjustment I noticed. And unfortunately, the game got away after that. The game absolutely got away. So we really didn't see what Cassidy had up his sleeve for this game, where Woodcroft, emptied the clip, so to speak.
Okay. You were speaking a little bit about adjustments. What in the world was VGK doing on the penalty kill with that structure? 4 players just sagging off and right near the crease, and Edmonton just picked it apart. I mean, they came out with a new defensive structure. If you're going to do something new, again, to at least be a little bit mysterious about what you're going to do. If you're going to try to catch Edmonton off guard, then come out with one structure that looks like that. mix it up, but every single power play. And that's why they scored 3 times. And it was target practice for the Edmonton Oilers on the power play. I cannot defend what they did defensively on the power play, on the PK for VGK. Could not.
So 2 things there. Alan Snell, I believe that's how you say his last name, asked that in the post-game presser. He's like, maybe this isn't working. You got something up your sleeve. He said it a little better than that, but in not so many words, that's what his question was. And Cassidy did mention, well, first he credited John Stevens, and then he mentioned that
for coming up with that scheme.
Yeah, well, he mentioned the first 2 goals happened, and then after that, they did switch to more of an attacking type of penalty kill where they put a little more pressure on, and they did only let up 1 goal after that on the PK, which I guess you can call that a win. And I forgot the gentleman. He calls in every single post game show. He was actually he made a great points. Edmonton's power play coming into the game was 59 point something %, which is just stupid in so many ways. Well, we held them to 3 of 6. We lowered Edmonton's power play percentage this game. So that's success, folks. That is success. The Edmonton power play percentage lowered. So let's talk about that. But on a serious note, they got to figure something out. We did mention, and this goes back to my conversation with Gil, who I'll actually be on Locked On NHL right after this show. But Gil asked me 2 things, basically what is going to either make or break the VGK. And I said, health first. Well, we can check that box. Health is pretty good right now. And then special teams. We're losing right now. We are losing badly. We lost in round 1. We're losing badly in round 2. Technically, we tied the special teams battle in game 1.
Okay.
Game 2, we got our butts kicked in the special teams battle.
VGK was just glowing about 5v5, where it was 1-1 in the game on Saturday. Come on, man.
I'm with you on that. That's not a success that I'm willing to celebrate.
Not a success.
Edmonton took their foot off the gas at that point when it was 5v5.
Yes. That's not a win for VGK.
No.
VGK is
game 1. It was game 1.
VGK is a finesse team. I've said this repeatedly, pretty much from day 1 of this franchise, and especially with all the skilled players, I believe, on this season's roster. A combined 124 penalty minutes in the game. That is of the utmost concern. Why? Because we talked about poise last week. Coming into the series, that was one of the keys. VGK lost their crapola. They could not have composure in this game.
So let's chop this up into taking penalties, in regular circumstances, and then obviously all the fisticuffs and stuff like that, because all that nonsense. I mean, technically, I think Mark Stone took the only bad penalty of the game
the retaliation?
That nullified. What's that? Yeah, no, he slashed the poop out of the guy's hand after he got a cross check in the back, and rightfully so. I mean, listen, defend yourself, and I'm okay with that at that stage of the game. I think it was a 4-0 game at that point. Listen, you got a freebie, take it, earn your 2 minutes, make it count there. So I'm okay with that. You look at the other penalties that happened. There was like 2 high sticks early in the game, and that's just, you want to say be careful with your stick and what you do out there, but it's not that easy just to simply say to keep your stick down. You're going for a stick lift, and this is where Mark Stone actually picked McDavid's pocket a couple times in the game and had a very good game on the others on the attacking side, creating some turnovers. And Eichel, you saw that some of those moments, but he also did wind up taking a high stick penalty and all that, which probably resulted in a goal for Edmonton, because it felt like every PK opportunity or every power play they had resulted in a goal. So yes, I'm walking back what I said early on. I said, listen, you don't got to worry about staying out of the box. You need to find a way to stop the power play. The power play is unstoppable. Stay out of the box. I'm walking that one back. Stay out of the box, VGK, and figure something out where maybe, but that's the thing. If you play less aggressive and give McDavid, space and time, you're screwed. And then Draisaitl is such a good passer on top of his finishing ability. He's got every bit of what Jack Eichel has as far as creating space, coming down the edge, stopping. The difference is he has players around him that can get those tough passes where, Eichel, And something I did want to talk about, you can jump on this too. What's up with Riley Smith? He looks hurt to me. He does not look good right now.
He and Marchessault, and that was one of my keys coming into the series, that they had to score goals. There's something up with Smith.
At least just be productive.
Marchessault had 7 shots on goal in the game on Saturday, so he's starting perhaps to come. Yeah, surprisingly, I think he might have had the most shots on net.
That's literally like a third of the shots they had.
Yeah, pretty much, right? You know,
felt like maybe a fourth, but still.
No, they definitely have to get those two into the scoring column.
It's not even about the scoring column with Riley Smith, though. I know I'm interrupting. I'm sorry, but Riley Smith just doesn't seem like
it's a free for all. Don't worry, man.
Riley Smith doesn't seem like he's engaged. He doesn't seem like I won't say his head is in the game, because I'm sure his head is in the game, but I don't think his body is responding to whatever is happening. And Riley Smith is not a flashy player. He can score some fun goals at times, especially some good snipes, but like a couple times you saw him maybe try and skate around someone. The effort was just poor, and he's just someone that's largely missing right now from this series. And Marchessault, you said he had 7 shots. Cool. I didn't necessarily see him, but at least he's triggering something. He's triggering opportunity, where Riley Smith is just a guy right now.
VGK very aggressive on the forecheck in the first game, non-existent in game number 2. And after the game, I did hear Cassidy say that Edmonton, they had the puck, they held on to it, they were strong on it, and that is a major key in this series, because let's see now if VGK goes back to its soft ways. I was concerned about them scoring goals. I said they go into droughts periodically. We've seen this before in the playoffs. Are we going to go through that again? And then the major key, how do you stop or at least somewhat control Draisaitl, who now has 13 goals? You have to do something else defensively on Leon Draisaitl. You do. Pick your poison. It's either him or it's going to be Connor. Either way, pick your poison. But I think first things first, they have to at least find a way to neutralize Leon Draisaitl.
As a fan of the game, it's fun watching what's happening. As a fan of VGK, it's not as much fun, but just watching this type of like surgical procedure, if you will, just the way they're going about their ways. And you mentioned poise. This is something back when I had the privilege to sit next to Mark Spector up in the press box, one of Edmonton's basically lead writers, and just watching the power play with him. And we're just talking about it and the poise that the Oilers have on the power play. There's no panic whatsoever. Even when it seems like they're being collapsed on, there's no panic. And then you watch the VGK power plays. It's like, okay, Jack Eichel in the third had a couple of shots from the elbow. One was decent, like up high off the shoulder, and the other one was just kind of there. No one, it's just night and day watching what's happening. So back to your point here, how do you stop or neutralize Draisaitl or McDavid? You really need to go back to the film of the regular season games where the Kings, I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they never scored more than 3 goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Kings did a great
job. The Oilers
job
over the Kings.
I thought that
in the regular season.
We talked about, sorry to cut you off this time, but
it's a free-for-all. Stop it.
Hey, it's a free-for-all. But but Chris, we were talking about that before the series. If they didn't dissect every single game that the Kings played against Edmonton, then that's on the VGK, because that's what I would have scouted, and I would have taken a piece. And I even talked about changing the defensive structure, if they could, for the Vegas Golden Knights against Edmonton, just to replicate what the Kings did before.
So I want to go back here at the game where we were in Edmonton, where Nick Waugh won in overtime, where Evander Kane was just moseying about like weirdest thing. I remember that goal pretty clearly. But I want to look at who was on the VGK, who was healthy that game, which that by itself is a mystery. I'm looking down game reports, game summary. So basically where I'm getting at here, like Teddy Bluger, you got a player like Teddy Bluger down the stretch for a reason. You didn't get him to get you through the last games of the regular season.
Right.
You got someone like Teddy Bluger for his defensive ability.
And cup experience too.
Exactly. So Teddy Bluger, I think, really needs to draw into the lineup on Monday night. This is kind of the what I put on Twitter. about asking fans, do they think there's no changes to the lineup? Do we see Aiden Hill possibly start the game, which I'm not against?
He should.
Or I'm not against that. I mean, we can go a little deeper to that. But as far as amongst the 18 skaters, I would really like to see Bluger draw into this game. And you can split hairs if it's Kolesar. Kolesar actually, outside of getting his butt pounded, actually had a decent game on the offensive zone. He created some opportunity. He actually created some separation with the puck, one of the few players that was actually able to do so. William Carrier, I mean, what's he done since he's come back?
Right.
The answer's nothing.
He spent about 10 minutes in the box.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I mean,
Saturday.
maybe you can split hairs if it's Kolesar or Carrier to possibly take a seat if Bluger's going to draw into this game. And I'd rather see Kolesar draw out, but I think I don't think anything can knock Keegen Kolesar out of this lineup at this point.
BGK was sour about the first two penalties, the McNabb cross check and the White Cloud high stick.
He wiped them out.
Afterwards, they're like, yeah, maybe these penalties will start turning in our direction. Okay, whatever. Shea Theodore had his pocket picked by McDavid, and then McDavid scored on the breakout. I wanted to talk about Shea Theodore's girlfriend, his GF. And something that she said.
She needs to shut up, first of all, I'll say it, but go ahead.
Well, okay. So I'm Mr. TMZ, as you know. So she goes off on social media yesterday, his girlfriend, or Saturday. Do fans not know how lucky you are to have a team to make playoffs? Effing stay till the end. Absolutely ridiculous.
We all can't take a helicopter to the game like they can.
I might have. I would have, you know what? To be quite honest with you, I was a casual after maybe the fights in the second period and all the fracases, and then I was just back and forth. I had watched the Derby at the beginning, and I was just back and forth. I lost a lot of I would have left the game myself. I would have left myself. Did you stay till the very end?
Yes and no. We stayed so. Once about 10 minutes hits, we kind of started walking. My kid loves just walking around T-Mobile and exploring and stuff like that. So it's a good way to kind of keep us there the whole game, if you will, to keep him engaged by just walking around a little bit. When there was about 8 minutes left, we finally walked, but we stayed outside because they're actually showing the games outside again. So we watched it down there just to see some of the goofiness. And when there was about 2 minutes left, we officially left the area, quote unquote. By the time we got to that little bridge in front of New York, we saw the end little thing that happened with everyone just kind of doing their thing and all that. But listen, who the heck is Shea Theodore's girlfriend even to make a comment like that, or fiance, whatever she is? Like, just shut up. You pay your money. The team lays an egg. Like, all the construction around the area, all the other things to do, like, it's over. The game's over. Like, literally just shut up, mind your business, take your payment from the team, and F off with your day. Like, really, like, leave the fans alone and don't create any extra distractions right now. Seriously,
or animosity, right? I mean,
enjoy the game.
Yeah. And enjoy
the game just like you are.
Most of the comments were not very good.
I mean, listen, how about she tells her boyfriend to learn how to hold the puck at the blue line and maybe not dance around that and try and, play pitter patter around that McDavid dude. And then McDavid beats him one-handed from the red line all the way in. How about we focus on that, Shea Theodore's girlfriend?
Okay. Public enemy number one, Evander Kane. You knew who I was talking about. He was quiet in game
Shea Theodore's girlfriend, maybe.
But he more than made up for that in game 2 on Saturday. And he sent a very strong message, perhaps, by pounding the snot out of Keegen Kolesar. We talk about that and much pounding the snot. We'll talk about that.
There's no snot in the kidney, Tony.
right here on Locked On Golden Knights. There is no I in team. Well, there's an I in Chris. That's why he gets all the pub. But there's no I in team. But there is one also in Indeed. And that's the hiring platform that you need to build yours on. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you to do it all. We streamline hiring with powerful tools that you could find your matched candidates And with Instant Match, over 80% of the employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description. And it happens very fast. And we get you one step closer to the hire by immediately matching you with quality candidates. Even better, Indeed's the only job site where you only pay for applications that meet your must-have requirements. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire the talent fast. Stop hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. The offer is good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. There's no an I in team, but there's an I in Chris and in Golick. Little Chris, man, he had the big W yesterday. Hey, little Chris, man, it's not prediction time yet, so tell him to hold off for one more segment. We'll get to
prediction time yet, Tony said.
So it won't be
Okay.
Okay, we will get you. We need your predictions there. It won't be forgotten, said Braden McNabb. Mark Stone chimes in post-game. We got only 4 guys on the ice. They had 5. The ref is standing there and letting him get hit. And him, of course, was Keegen Kolesar. Did Evander Kane cross the line by pummeling a defenseless Keegen Kolesar while Kolesar was down
No.
the ice, 4 or 5 kidney shots?
No.
He did not cross the line. Why not?
No. It's a fight. It's a fight.
I counted it as a fight. Everyone was like, no, that's an assassination attempt. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
someone said assault and they should press charges.
Assault.
It's like, shut up, people. It's a fight. It's a fight. It's hockey. It's gruesome. It's hate-filled at times. Call it what you will. And after the game, Kolesar and Kane, they'll shake hands and they'll move forward if Kolesar even makes the handshake line at this point. But point being is that this is hockey. This happens. And Tony help me walk you guys right into this one. I was interacting with a lot of people yesterday. I had an interesting Twitter day yesterday. We'll leave most of that out, but the stuff we will talk about. I believe Seth was the person's name. We had a real good up and back. We agreed, we didn't agree, and it was a fun conversation, as most Twitter conversations should be. And this basically my quote to Seth was, do you think for a second if it was opposite that one VGK wouldn't do the same thing, especially if Evander Kane's the one on the ground? And I believe Seth said I would get $50 if someone did it in this series. So I'm hoping that someone takes that shot, because I could use $50 right now, especially after shelling out some money for different tickets yesterday. But I was able to find, and a Sabres fan pulled this up of all people, but our beloved Keegen Kolesar, when they played the Blues earlier in the season, was taking headshots at someone when they were on the ground when the refs had them tied up. The player was defenseless. Keegen Kolesar was defenseless, getting his butt kicked. Keegen Kolesar was kicking someone's butt who was defenseless as well. It's a fight. It happens. You keep throwing fists. And listen, if Kolesar breaks his stance, breaks away from Kolesar. Sorry, if Kolesar breaks away from Kane on the ground, he's going to start throwing punches. So it's a fight. You punch. If there's this honor and respect, the second they hit the ground, they're supposed to stop when there's not a ref around. Okay, fine. I'll buy most of that. But in that spot, the game is ugly. The game is turning. Any VGK is going to keep punching when they get to the ground right there. If it was the opposite, and you 100% insert any expletive you want anywhere along the lines here, you 100% know if they saw Evander Kane on the ground in that spot, they are going to throw as many haymakers or more as Kane threw at Kolesar last night. And I will argue with any one of you at TD Chris G. Bring it on.
Okay. So Kane, he accumulated 14 penalty minutes, and some do believe that he broke one of hockey's bro codes. And again, by hitting him when he was down. But this started as a fight. And then afterwards, Kane said, hey, you're going to mess with me? I'll show you what I'm made of, right? There was a lot
paraphrasing,
of
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good paraphrase.
It's a family show. It's a family show.
But they were chirping back and forth, the benches, and it could have gotten really ugly out there. Oh, Alex Pietrangelo, man, come on. He needs more in his game. he more or less jumped Bukestad, right? Which started the whole brouhaha. And then he gets tossed down. I mean, if you're going to start a fight, finish it. I don't know what's
Or
going
get him
on.
when they're not looking. That's all Petrangelo's got when it comes to that
that's
sort
all
of
he's
thing.
got. That's all he's got. I know. I don't know what's up with his game. I don't know what's up with his swagger lately, but it's a little disappointing to be quite honest with you.
So back to the Kane situation, and a quote that I took away from Cassidy, and I'm thinking Cassidy had some words for the team after this one, was that they were out teammated by the Edmonton Oilers.
I don't even know if that's a word, but okay.
It's probably not a word. It probably wouldn't count in Wordle, even though it's more than 5 letters. So it doesn't count in Wordle or Scrabble. It's not a word. Right.
Is it on Wordle? No.
Well, Wordle is only 5 letters, so you have to.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know how that works.
Okay. So point being is, Edmonton was backing each other up in this game. Where listen, in that circumstance with Kolesar on the ground, nothing's going to change there because just everyone's tied up and whatever. Right after, I think Cassidy wanted basically blood at that point. Cassidy wanted to see something after that. And the biggest difference I saw in the game, I put a tweet out there. There's maybe 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. Howden, finally, someone on the VGK went after the untouchable Connor McDavid. The only thing he was doing was pinning him on the bench right between the home and the away bench, right in front of like where the national announcers stand. He pinned him there. He wasn't giving the business or anything like that, but at least he was doing something. He's letting him know he was there. There you go. And all of a sudden, from the blue line, it might have been the far blue line, here comes Zach Hyman, all however big that he's a big dude and dude you don't want to mess with. McDavid kind of gets free, probably because Howden saw Hyman coming, and McDavid actually waved him off. He's like, I'm cool.
Yeah,
go.
keep going. I'm good.
didn't want a penalty, wanted to avoid something. But that moment right there, I think, is what Cassidy is referring to. And now here's my concern coming into game 3. Evander Kane is living rent-free in every single VGK player's head, in Cassidy's head, in all the fans.
Yeah.
You got to play hockey.
Those that stayed till the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shea Theodore's girlfriend knew all about that situation because she stayed. Good for her. But point being is now VGK might get away from their game a little bit. They might want to send a message in game 3 and have physical play. Like, this isn't the time for loser hockey. This is not the time to go after Evander Kane or anyone else. So you say that for the regular season next year. You got to go out and win game 3 because game 4 is going to be a heck of a lot harder to win, as is game 5, 6, and 7. And you definitely don't want to be on the wrong side of an elimination game because whoever probably does take that 3-2 lead or 3-1 lead is winning the series at this point. I don't know if either of these teams can win 2 games in a row.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Theodore's girlfriend, she had to stay because Shea drove her to the arena, I'm sure. Brett Howden mixing it up with Brett Kulak, too. And does that count as a fight? Because Howden just had his helmet stripped, and that wasn't.
I thought pulling the helmet off is not like. I could be wrong. I'm definitely not the rules.
It should be a penalty, right? It should be a penalty.
He was trying to pull the helmet off, and that's like, listen, that bothers me more than Evander Kane pummeling Kolesar on the ground. Like, seriously, that's more dangerous. Kolesar entered a fight. He got his butt kicked. He effed around and found out, according to Evander Kane, where, listen, you're not going to start pulling equipment off of a player. Like, that's just dumb.
What about the elite fighter, Nick Hague?
He tried to do something at some points. He wanted one.
He still had 12 penalty minutes. He did want something. Maybe he goes after Kane. The VGK won't be forgotten, said McNabb. McNabb better just
save it for the right place, though. You're not going to do this in the first or second period with the game in the balance. If the game is 4-1 it's not going to be full. If it's 4-1, Vegas is probably losing. But if the game is not in the balance, there's 5 minutes left in the game, fine. All bets are off. Let's just, let the bodies hit the floor, so to speak, for both teams. Otherwise, if the game is close, you got to play hockey. Save the repercussions for the regular season. Save them for game 54 that no one gives a crap about.
Wasn't it Hague who threw Hyman in front of the net there? The collision with
McNabb, I thought. Was it McNabb or Hague? Either way.
Okay. So
either way, I mean, it was the right call. I mean,
it was the right call. There was no interference
there. Oh no, McNabb wiped him out early in the game that knocked the net off, and then Hague, I believe, was the was the interference they tried to. That was a Hail Mary challenge. That's all that was.
That was not a good challenge. They've done.
And my
they've
kid
done
Chris actually caught it right away. I didn't see it. Chris is like, goalie interference. Like he was yelling before it even happened. I'm like, really? And then I see him talking. I'm like, oh, good job, Chris.
All right, man. We're going to get to Chris's prediction for the game number 3 coming up on Monday night. We'll also have the locks of the night. Don't want to miss it. Stay with us right after this. We'll get into all that on Locked On Golden Knights. If you are looking for a delicious snack and you don't want all the sugar and calories, you got to try the best tasting protein bar ever, and that is Built. You got to try it. And if you are like us right here on Locked On Golden Knights, you want to make healthier snack choices, but you don't want to compromise on taste, then we've got just the thing for you. It's Built Bars and Built Puffs. Built Bars, healthy, they taste amazing. Seriously, they are so amazing. You won't think that they're good for you because they really do taste like a candy bar, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. They come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and cookies and cream. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while they maintain all of the healthy macros, like only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to get to wait around for your box of Built Bars because you could just go right down the street. Your local Walmart has them now, Sam's Club, or you could still go for the fantastic flavors to Built.com. But head down to your local Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate bar, or coconut puff. Yum. And if you're close to Sam's Club, just run in, grab the 13-bar box with the hit flavors, brownie batter puff and churro puff, and you could thank us later, or you can also go to Built.com. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick, and little Chris Golick in the house as it's time for our locks of the night and our predictions. And I don't think it's going to stop there with all the scoring and the power play goals and all of the sideshows and all of the kidney punches. And I'm going to go with 5-2 Oil. 5-2 Oil. I think that could have been the statement game for Edmonton. And I'm going to go with Barbashev and Eichel. Jackie Aces has to do something, man. He's got to do something in game 3. Little Chris,
yeah,
man.
I mean, Eichel definitely has to show up. I'll go second. We'll let Chris back clean up on this one. I'm going with, I've called the first 2 games so far. I believe my playoff prediction from the Vegas side, win, loss, win, loss, win. VGK wins game 6 and 7 for a dramatic comeback. So I'm going to keep going with that. And I think Edmonton, I'm not arguing you either, Tony, but I'm right so far. So I'm going to ride the horse until it bucks me, so to speak, or the bull until it bucks me. But so I'm going 4-2 Edmonton. I think VGK maybe slows the scoring down a little bit, but we'll see if they can get enough scoring of themselves. So 4-2 Edmonton. And as far as players that might do something, I mean, Marchessault has been shooting, I guess, right? So maybe we'll start there. And let's go Marchessault Smith. Let's just go for either all of it or Max Payne. So 4-2 Edmonton game 3, Marchessault and Riley Smith. Little Chris, what you got, buddy?
I think it's going to be 2-0 Oilers. And then I think it's going to be Marchessault and Stevenson that are going to do good.
All right.
Well, not if you say 2-0 because no one's doing anything. Does Draisaitl get both goals too, just for the record?
And McDavid, but yeah.
Draisaitl and McDavid score. Okay. Dynamite
going
take.
Out on the limb. I'm one of those folks that does believe. We thought that Adin Hill would get a start in the series. I think this would be a good spot for him. Brossoit,
I don't disagree, but I don't think he's going to do it. I think he rolls with Brossoit, but I think Adin Hill would be a good choice.
I don't think that would be good.
This is where it should be. I'm with you, Tony. Yeah, this is where it should happen because this is not a shot against Hill, but Brossoit he's our starter. And even if Hill does really, really well, I think you still maybe go back to Brossoit. But point being is I would rather be down 2-1 and go back to Brossoit than be down 2-1 and rely on Adin Hill to save the day.
So McDavid's second goal, that's when Cassidy said afterwards the goalie needs to make that save.
That's a bad goal.
Short side, yeah.
He didn't like either of McDavid's goals.
Right. And then, of course, he never saw the puck on the Bouchard slap shot, which was a heater, but there was so much traffic in front. Yeah, there was a lot of traffic in front too. Do you think that VGK could somewhat regroup in this game?
Oh, I think so. I mean, listen, Edmonton, I'll go out the way I came in. Edmonton won a game and did very well in a single game of the series. Edmonton was good in game one, whereas VGK was just a little bit better. And VGK no-showed game two, but it's a 7-game series. Cassidy's been around this block a few times, a few more times than Woodcroft has. So, and we do have a pretty good defense, although we've now given up 9 goals so far.
9 goals
to Edmonton, which, again, back to Mark Spector. If it's going to be a race to 5 every game, VGK is going to have a hard time winning this series.
Yeah.
We tied the special teams battle in one game, lost the special teams battle in another game. 5-on-5, things are going okay. Even yesterday, or even Saturday, as weird as it was, technically it was still a decent game on the 5-on-5 side. And obviously it was a better game on the 5-on-5 side on Wednesday. So I'm flipping my script, stay out of the box, start with staying out of the box, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
I would like to see Bluger draw into this game. I want to see Bluger draw into this game.
Same here. I'm with you on that one. Probably going to be number one. Said the first goal is important, and it stood up, of course, on Saturday. 2:21 into the game. That can't happen where they score very quickly.
Both games.
There was a response in game one, nothing doing in the second game. Stay out of the box. Haig, 12 minutes. Kolesar, 12 minutes. Carrier, 12 minutes in the box.
Take off 10 of each of those, Tony. Those are 2-minute penalties that they tagged on 10s for. But I hear what you're saying.
Tagged on the 10, but yes, even so, penalty minutes, not good. And if I'm Cassidy, I just would have walked into the locker room and said, game 3, poise, and left. That would have been it. I just would have had enough. I don't know what else you can say. They didn't show up. Again, on a big stage, VGK just has absolutely no intensity. That's the part. And of course, they got out teammated too.
There's nothing. I mean, I didn't mind Kolesar's game. I liked, if we're going to try and get something positive here, Kolesar had an okay game. I liked Amadio's game as well. Amadio seems to be finding ways to create some space out there. Mark Stone has probably been one of our best forwards out there the entire series, just as far as what he's doing, what he's going through while he's doing it. On the defensive side, I like what Zach Whitecloud's doing. I've been okay with his game so far. Nicholas Waugh seems like he's just a guy right now. Howden is at least causing some trouble up there. Fine. And Riley Smith marches. So what are we doing here?
Who's your biggest passenger?
Biggest passenger right now who's just there and not necessarily contributing.
Can I say Martinez?
No, Shea Theodore. I'm blasting. I'm mad at Shea Theodore. I'm mad at his family. So Shea Theodore.
All right. We appreciate everyone tuning in.
And their dog too.
Game number 3 coming up tonight, Monday night. On Tuesday's show, we'll have a recap. Don't forget, each and every week on Friday, we have What the Friday. That segment, we went off the rails in this initial show for the week, and we started our campaign for WTF. So just
like the hockey night in Canada, we're recording on a Sunday morning, guys. This is new for us, where we had to reschedule everything for us too.
VGK, it didn't matter when they played this game. There were no show on Friday. There were no show on Saturday. They need to show up.
They could have played a game on Friday. It would have been the same results.
That's right. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again to our everydayers as well. People that tune in each and every day. Find us wherever your podcasts are available. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. So long from Las Vegas. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.